Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury beauty. Today we have a couple of things I'm really excited about. So we're going to be taking a look at the new Dries Van Noten line. So he has released some lipsticks, some fragrances, and he has some accessories as well, like a lip brush and pouches and things like that. We're also going to take a look at the Pat McGrath the Dark Star 3 kit, which is on my eyes here. I have two looks I created with this. So we've got one demo where I kind of played with everything with all the different combinations and so forth and create a really deep look. And then this is a lighter, softer look. So we're going to take a look at all of that today. Let's start off with the Dries Van Noten. All right, so I ordered my items. There's a US site that you can order from. There's an EU site as well. I ordered from the US site, but it did ship from overseas. Customs actually went through and opened my package for me. So, the boxes and everything, they had been cut open, so I just kind of tossed those. But I wanted to show you how the items actually arrive. So there are 4 different cases that you can purchase. You can see you've got the Dries Van Noten logo at the top, and then you can obviously mix and match these as well. This is how the case comes. You see this opening? That's just a cardboard tube here that is just, keeping it together in the box essentially. So we have that. So these are the 2 halves. These are luxe, they're metal, and there's like plastic insert here where you can see that it will clip in. And here's the other side, and these will like securely close. And then the refill comes like this. So you've got your color name printed here. Unfortunately, you won't see the color name once you put it in the lipstick case. This is the bottom. Actually, when you get this, this is like on there very securely. You can see this can snap in. I didn't re-snap it in, but it did take a little effort to pull this off for me. But this has like the color name and everything down there. This is the part that clips in, and on this side you just have a plastic cap. Now if you wanted to purchase just the refills, you can't twist it up, so you will not be able to use these without a case to clip it into. But just wanted to give you a heads up. Now the cases, you can just clip this in, you can hear that click, and then there we go. So this is first one, and you can see that when it closes, you put that on, but then you want to snap it closed. The bottom of the case is just brushed gold. Just for reference, the lipstick refills do not fit in any other refillable cases that I have. So looking at the 4 finishes, we have this one here, which is like a orange ceramic, and then I believe this is vegan leather, but it is meant to, resemble like a black animal print here. We also have this one. This is completely ceramic. You have this like neon yellow with a touch of green in there, and almost a leopard print here. So this is totally ceramic. And here, this is like an orangey red. You can see, look at all the beautiful colors in there, and then blue and white. This one's my favorite. And then the 4th case here, you've got this green. And again, this is like a vegan leather here. You've got like red and black, like reptile print. So these do mix and match if you want to mix them up. And I have to say, if I end up purchasing more shades, that's what I'll do. I'll get cases I can mix and match so that I don't have the same exact combination. I can differentiate my lipsticks. So I have to say the cases themselves are very, very luxe. Now, all of my items came packaged in a bag here. I really like this bag. They're using fabric left over from the fashion collections to create the bags. So, not everybody is going to get the same bag or anything like that. I think that's really nice. Now, so let's take a look at some arm swatches, and then we'll talk a little bit about the line while I show you the lip swatches. But this one here is shade 3, Silent Nude, and this is one of the sheer lipsticks. And I have this on my lips, but I have this on top of the next shade here, which is number 60, Revised Pink. And this is a satin formula. You can see how opaque that is. So I have a light layer of the pink on, and I have to say these stay on. So you'll see in the Pat McGrath demo, I had that lipstick on for several hours and I had eaten meals and everything with it on. I had breakfast and lunch with it before, you know, removing it for this. And, you know, that's how it lasts. And that's like a satin shade. This one here is 99 Favorite Red. And this is another satin. Now you can see that these satin shades, they have a satin finish, but it's not quite as much of a sheen or a shine as a traditional satin. They're not quite a satin matte, but they actually do kind of dry down to a satin matte on your lips. This one here is 80, which is Latin Carmine Matte. And I have to say, I'm actually really enjoying the matte formula. So we'll talk about my thoughts on these and so forth. So as I mentioned, you have 4 cases that you can choose from. There are also 4 different finishes. So we had the sheer, we have satin, we have matte, and there's also a translucent lip balm, which I actually have not seen available for purchase yet. So those are the different finishes you can have for the lipsticks. The lip balm is supposed to offer a lightweight veil of hydration with a luminous, non-greasy finish. The sheer lipstick, like my nude one here, is offering 12-hour hydration and lightweight shine. The matte is an intensely pigmented shade with 12-hour wear and comfort. And the satin delivers all-day wear and comfort. And I have to say that the pigments really stay put on these lip products. Obviously, the sheer is not going to last as long as the others, but they really do. Like, you're going to have pigment on your lips, like, pretty much all day with all of them. So I think they're really a great finish. These are all vegan formulas. Now, my thoughts on the lipsticks, I have to say I'm really enjoying them. I think the matte formula, it feels a little bit powdery, but not like those dry powdery mattes that we're used to. It's more so that it feels like you're meant to dab it on. And it just really kind of like stays put, like you're pressing pigment onto your lips. Obviously, you can swipe it on, as you can see in the demo, and it looks great that way as well. But I think dabbing it on and then topping it with like a clear balm or something is kind of going to be my method of choice with the mattes. But I did wear the matte all day to kind of test out the formula, and it really is not drying. It, you know, when you first put it on, you're like, oh, you know, it's not one of those creamy mattes. You know, I was thinking it was going to end up feeling dry and uncomfortable, but even by the end of the day, I didn't really feel it on my lips, and they definitely did not feel dry. So I'm really impressed with the matte formula. The satins, I think, are really comfortable on the lips. You know, they kind of feel a little weightless. They feel smooth, but, you know, again, that pigment remains. I feel like after, you know, a few hours, it really fades to more of a satin matte look on your lips. But yet it looks a little bit more evenly spread out or dispersed compared to what you would get with a lipstick that fades to a stain. So it still looks like you applied it freshly. It's just that you don't have as much of that satin sheen. It reminds me a little bit of what you would get after a while with a Chanel Rouge Coco Bloom. So, you know, you don't have quite as much sheen after a while, but that pigment remains. The sheer shade I find really comfortable. I'd love to see more shades in that line. You know, I love a sheer lipstick, and yet these are pigmented enough to act just as a lipstick. They're not really a sheer lip balm. Overall, I have to say I love the lipsticks. I love the cases. I think they're very luxe. You know, I don't find them to be overpriced compared to other luxury lipsticks that you can purchase. I find these to be on par, if not better than some of those. I like the formula of these lipsticks better than some more higher priced lipstick formulas, like, for example, La Bouche Rouge. I also like the variety that you have with this. I would love to see an expansion of the color line. There are a lot of deeper shades, lots of reds and so forth. I'd love to see a few more nudes. And I do want to note that the photos that are on the website, they make everything look a bit warmer than they really are. Like, this nude shade actually looked more like a yellowish brown shade compared to what it is in real life, where there's actually a touch of pink. It's a really soft, beautiful nude shade with just a slight touch of pink mixed in there. So I really love that one. I think they're all gorgeous shades. Now, I also want to talk about the fragrances. I did not purchase any full-size fragrances yet. However, those bottles are stunning. And I just want to give a little bit of information that I got when researching this. So in 2018, Dries Van Noten joined the Puig group. And I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. I did listen to a pronunciation guide. So hopefully, you know, I'm trying. So anyway, I read through an interview with him, and basically as soon as he joined, he started working on this makeup line, and he knew right away he wanted to dive into lipsticks and perfumes to kind of complement the fashions that he's created. So he was thinking, you know, he makes garments for a variety of different people with different personalities and aesthetics and so forth. So he didn't want to do just like a signature perfume because he feels like every look and every individual should have something different. So he wanted to do a range, and they've started with 10 fragrances, but it sounds like they have quite a few already, you know, kind of in the works to come out as kind of like a second round. So this line so far, they've got 10 fragrances, 30 lipsticks, and accessories. The bottles, you know, are meant to be creative. They're supposed to clash and combine things like the lipstick cases. And he kind of approached this whole thing differently than traditional, you know, a traditional collaboration. So he actually invited perfumers and everybody to his house to smell things. He's really into gardening. So, you know, they walked through his garden and they were smelling things like growing fresh. And he kind of helped come up with some of the concepts. But essentially, he hired all of these different perfumers who were known to be risk takers and who weren't afraid to kind of come up with scents that could clash and combine different senses. So that's kind of what he went into. And this whole thing, you know, it translated into creams and soaps and lotions and stuff like that as well. That is part of the plan from the very beginning. And he feels like this whole idea of clashing things together gives people different viewpoints and can kind of like, you know, open or awaken your creativity. So he has a wide variety of famous perfumers like Louise Turner, Nicolas Bonville, Nicolas Beaulieu. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. IFF, Guerlain, and so forth. You know, those are all some of the people that he's worked with, or fragrance houses he's worked with as well. Each fragrance contains at least 85% natural ingredients. And to figure out what, you know, kind of what he wanted the bottles to look like, he decided he wanted to go with things that were responsibly sourced using recyclable materials. So he used glass, treated 5 different ways. So there are opaque bottles with gradient colors, there's aluminum and wood mixed in and so forth. So he has a wide variety, and he kind of picked what he thought the person who would love a particular fragrance would like to see in a bottle. And that's kind of how they matched them. And there's a silver bottle cap on each one with the Dries Van Noten logo, similar to the gold logo here on the lipstick caps. So all of the perfume bottles actually come packed in paper pulp, like you would get like, you know, a paper egg carton. And one of the reasons they did that, and this is a quote from Dries Van Noten, he says, "I love also the connotation because normally you buy eggs in the supermarket in paper pulp, and now you buy a precious bottle of perfume that is also quite fragile with incredible content." All those things I really enjoyed. So I really like, the little thoughts and touches in this line. I have to say, I'm really impressed so far. So for the fragrances, I picked up one of the sample sets. There are 2 sample sets available. There's technically 3. There's a third one that kind of has like everything. And you do get, a code to purchase, to get a little discount off of your full size. So it comes in a pull-through box, and I picked up one of the fragrance sets, and the other one didn't sound like fragrances that I would like. I did want to get the full set one, but that's actually, I haven't not seen that available on the US site for purchase. So these are the fragrances I got, and that's what the bottles will look like. And 2 of his favorite fragrances, like he loves roses. So he created 2 different rose scents. I have to say, I love rose fragrances. So I was like, oh, I'm really going to love those. They're very different than what I expected. The rose is almost like, you don't smell it as much. So look at these bottles. Like I thought when I was looking at the pictures online, I thought maybe the bottles were colored, but they're not. It's just paper beneath it. So it's just like a regular sample bottle, but you've got like this cute little ball here. And I'm just gonna talk a little bit about these scents. So I have to say, I actually do really like these 5 scents that I picked. Now, I would actually probably purchase full sizes of a few of these. Like they're really nice. So first we have Jardin. Oops. So first we have Jardin de l'Orangerie, which has orange blossom and santal. And you know, I love oranges. So I was like, oh, I'm going to love this. And I do really like it. It's kind of like a soft floral, orange blossom, not orange. And I think it's a nice light floral scent. I feel like there's a touch of vanilla in there as well. So I'm purposely not looking at the notes that are included in there. Obviously, that's something you can easily look up online, but I just kind of wanted to give my impressions on how they smell after sitting on my skin and so forth. So I feel like the orange blossom one, you have a little bit of like that orange blossom flower. You've got a touch of vanilla. It's not heavy on the vanilla. It's just a little bit kind of like in the background. But I feel like there's a little bit of a light floral, touch of greenery, and you know, perhaps a tiny bit of citrus in there as well, but also a touch of vanilla. I like that one. So I think that one's really nice. Neon Garden has mint and iris. And this is one that I really like. It's not overpowering like mint toothpaste or mint gum or something like that. You have a sweet floral, the iris, it smells like really sweet. And then you have a little bit of like natural mint, like growing in the garden. It does not smell like artificial mint. It doesn't smell like mint extract. You know, it's much more subtle. I think it's a really fresh fragrance. And yeah, it's got some complexity to it. So that's one that I also really like. And then we're moving on to the 2 rose fragrances. So we have Rose Carnivora, which has rose and vetiver. And I like this one. So between the two, I actually prefer the Rose Carnivora. And I would have to say though, I like this one better than the other one, but it's not one that I'm going to purchase. So again, it's not that heavy on the rose. I can smell the rose, but really I just smell like more of a combination of other things. And it definitely smells like sultry. It's a sultry rose scent. And it's very nice, but it's just not going to be like a typical one that I reach for. But I have to say, I do like it. There's definitely kind of like this like deep sultry vibe with it. And then we have Raving Rose, which has pepper and rose. And I have to say, I smell more of the pepper than I do of the rose. So as it dries down, you smell more of the rose, but first thing, it smells like literally, if you've like been like transferring spices or something, you get like pepper up your nose, you're getting that like intense pepper scent. So, you know, it's peppery. When it dries down, you smell more rose. And I have to say, I like the rose scents. It smells a little fresher, like a fresher rose versus the Rose Carnivora, but the peppery notes are just a little bit too much for me. So, you know, if I could combine the two of them, like I feel like the Rose Carnivora, it's not really a powdery rose, but it's a little bit more powdery in essence. It smells a little bit more old-fashioned compared to the Raving Rose. And then Santal Greenery, which has fig and santal. This one is my favorite, I think. So this one has like a brightness to it. It's green. It's got a little bit of, you know, like a hint of something spicy in there as well. But I just think that it's kind of like a light scent with a little kick to it. So I really like this one. So I have to say that this one is my favorite. The Santal Greenery, followed very closely by the Neon Garden. So I will probably pick both of these up at some point. And then I'll probably also pick up the Jardin. I'll probably pass on the 2 rose fragrances, but I have to say I'm really impressed because I'm not a huge fragrance person. I have some and I like them, I wear them and so forth. But for me, it's like I have to go through tons and tons of samples to find some that I would consider purchasing. And I feel like this was easy. I actually really like these. And I like the fact that they're more unique than what you typically smell. So yeah, I think he hit it out of the park with this whole collection. I'm very, very happy with the lipsticks, very happy with the fragrances. So let me know if you pick any of these items up, but I'm really loving them, and I'm definitely going to be purchasing full-size fragrances and probably more lipsticks at some point. Now on to the Pat McGrath set. I actually go through swatches and everything in the first demo, so I will, cut to that in just a second. But my thoughts on this, I have to say, I really like it. Honestly, I bought the set for the shadow, the Sextra Galactic pigment, and it doesn't disappoint. I really love it. For those of you looking for a dupe or an alternative for the Surratt Supernova shade from the Holograms, I actually like this one better than the Surratt Hologram shade. I love the Surratt Hologram shade. I think it's gorgeous, but it does crease on me after a while. Their hologram formula, I always get a little bit of creasing by the end of the day with that. Whereas this stays put, and it just, yeah, I like that a little bit better. The fact that it does not crease. So I think it's a stunning shade, and I will show you how it pairs with everything else in the kit. And personally, I love this shade so much. I think it's worth buying this set just for this, but the set itself has some great products. So overall, I would purchase it again. All right, so I picked up the Pat McGrath Dark Star 3 kit, and let's open it up. All right, so inside you get one of the Permagel liners in extreme black, and there's also the Mayron mixing liquid. We have this. This is what I could not resist. So this is called Sextra Galactic. So it's a VR shade from Pat McGrath. I mean, look at that. So we're going to just kind of play around with it, use it wet and use it dry. This is what it looks like with the eye gloss on top. On the model picture, you can see where the eye gloss is, that there's like a little bit of shimmer in there as well. So I can't wait to play with this. And then this is the eye gloss. Wow, I didn't realize. I thought it was going to be kind of like clear, but let's take a look at these. All right, so here is the Sextra Galactic. Wow, very excited for this. Look at that. So that's it dry. It kind of reminds me of Surratt Supernova a little bit. Let me swatch those together. So this is Surratt Supernova, and this shade is only available on Surratt's website. So you can see here that they do have similar colors. That's looking much more purple right now, but on my eyes, I definitely usually see more of this light green shade. You can see though that they have kind of the same shift. And this is a creamier formula. Just wanted to let you guys know, I know a lot of people have been wanting to get this, but they can't purchase directly from Surratt. So this Pat McGrath set might be a nice alternative. And so I'm just going to dip. This is the Chantecaille Shade and Sweet brush. I'm just going to get this a little bit damp here. Just going to wipe off any excess on here so it's damp and not soaking wet. And we're going to swatch the shadow wet. So we'll just put it here. Get a little more product on there. Wow, so excited. All right, just to compare the Surratt with that as well. Ooh, this isn't coming up as nicely. This formula I don't think is intended to be used like this. Yeah, it's just use it. Yeah, it just doesn't go on as nicely that way, but there we go. So I wouldn't recommend trying the mixing medium with the Surratt. All right, so I want to see how sheer the shadow is on someone. So we're going to start with the Permagel liner on the lashes. And I have the Viseart eye primer on, which I always use before eye products. So I'm keeping this close to the lash line here. So I have it thicker at the corners, but I didn't do like an actual like wing or anything. I'm taking this smudge or two from Sonia G, and this is kind of sat a little bit already, so it's not going to like smear that much. I just want to soften a little bit of the parts on the top, the edges. right, so now we're going to take this Energy Worker Pro. This is dry. We're going to put this on top and just getting a bunch of product on. And I wiped off the top layer of the eyeshadow after testing it with the Mehron liquid, just to kind of make sure there was no residue or anything there. I mean, look at that. Let's add a second layer here. So you can still kind of see the black through. You see it more as depth and not really necessarily as black as it was. So it's not totally sheer, yet not completely opaque either. So now we're going to take the Chantecaille Shade and Sweep with the Mehron liquid, and we're going to do this eye with that. Wow. Yeah, so this one's going to be pretty opaque. I think my brush is a little wet. Look at that. So that's the difference between dry versus wet. I'm going to let this dry, and then we're going to kind of match these two together. Just going to take the Sonia G Crease 1. This is still damp, and I'm just going to kind of blend this just a little bit because it's a little messy here. You can see it's starting to set a little bit. It's not doing that much. All right, now that these are dry, you can see the difference between the two. It's definitely more vibrant when it's wet versus dry, and it's definitely more opaque. I still see some of the black liner through it right at the base, but again, I really can't tell that I have black liner there. It's really just a little bit deeper there at the edge. And, you know, I think it just kind of emphasizes the lashes more than looking like eyeliner there. Whereas with the dry side, I can definitely see kind of a little bit of a thicker layer of the black. All right, so I'm just going to use this Crease 1 brush and just get a little bit on the brush and just kind of put this in. I'm going to take the tip of this crease brush, just get a little bit on here and put this on the lower lash line. And I'm going to use the dampened brush over here to even out the level of pigmentation on both sides. Just going to put a thin line of the liner right along the edges. And although I don't typically put things in my waterline, especially black, let's try it out with this. So I'm just using the Sonia G, what was this, a smudger 2 that I used earlier, and just kind of bring over this a little bit. And then for the inner corner, I'm going to go into this shade here from the Pat McGrath Divine Rose 2 palette. This is the like duochrome shade. So I'm just going to get a little bit on the Crease 1 brush. All right, so that's going to be it for the eyes. I'm going to add the Issa mascara because I think I need some volume with this look. And yeah, let's try the eye gloss actually too. All right, so we're going to try the eye gloss. I actually have plenty in the lid here, so I'm going to work with what's in the lid. And let's just swatch this real quickly. So here's the eye gloss. It's almost clear, but there's like a little bit of a bluish greenish hue to it that you see here, you know, and then there's sparkle. It's very finely milled sparkle. Let's put some of this on top of the swatches. We'll just go straight down the middle here so you can kind of see what it does. Use a different finger here for these. You know, surprisingly, it doesn't really seem to smear that much in between. All right, let's try it out. All right, I'm just going to use my fingers. Wow. You know, I'm not really getting additional shadow on my fingers. I can't, it does seem like it's moving my shadow though. Look, that kind of made a bit of a mess. Just going back in with the brush here. Yeah, I don't know. See how like splotchy that is now? Let's try it on this eye. Maybe it's just me. No, if I wipe at all, it moves the shadow. If I just pat, it's fine. So here it is with the gloss. And you can see it does pick up a little bit of the shadow, but not very much. I like it better without the gloss. All right, so I'm taking the Worker Pro again. I'm just gonna see if I can kind of fix the part that got messed up. So this was my dry brush. All right, and there we go. It just tapped right out. So I'm just gonna make them the same, put the eyegloss on here. I'm gonna be careful and make sure I only tap. All right, so here it is with the mascara, and let me show you from distance. Very dark. So it's not my usual look, but it's kind of nice to be a little different. And I have to say, I really love the actual colors of this. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. And I'm not gonna have to use this dark like this all the time. You know, this is one way to do it, but I think we can do this a lot lighter. So we'll try that tomorrow. I couldn't wait for tomorrow. So I ended up washing off my makeup. I reapplied my cheeks, which by the way is the Chanel Peche Cosmique and Pink Explosion. And we're gonna take the Pat McGrath Mothership 1 Subliminal Palette. This is my favorite. We're gonna start off in this matte, like soft brown here. And this is the Refer 32 brush. Just going to blend this into the crease a little bit. And then I'm wiping off the brush and I'm going into this first shade, the lighter shade here. And just diffusing that a bit. And next we're going to go into this shade. It's the last one in the top row, and using the same brush. And I'm going to start this here in the inner portion and work my way over. Next, I'm taking this Sextra Galactic, and I'm going to use this dry, same brush, and I'm going to start this from the outer portion and work in. I'm going to cover a little bit of the subliminal shade as well. All right, I wiped off the brush and I'm just feathering the edges of the two shades together. And that's gonna be it. I think lower lash line can leave it blank, or I think I'm gonna go in with the same matte brown that I used in the crease. So I'm taking the Refer 2, and actually I think I'm gonna go into this lilac shade instead. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of that down below here. I'm just gonna soften that with a little bit of the first shade here. And just for a pop of color in the inner corner, I'm going to just add a little bit of the very last shade in the palette. Just for a little blue sparkle. Can you imagine if she had done a Mothership with this shade in there? I mean, like, hues of purple and blue and green would have been amazing. And then for eyeliner, I'm actually just going to use the Sextra Galactic Wet. I'm using the Refer 23 brush. I'm going to get that dampened, and I'm just going to go ahead and line the upper lash line with that. So, all right, so that's it. I'm going to add the mascara, and I'll see you in a second. And this is the lighter look. What do you guys think? Which one's your favorite? So I would love to know what you guys think of all of these new items. The Dries Van Noten items, I have to say, you know, I am just really happy with them. I feel like I've had some really good purchases right now. And let me know whether you guys are interested in seeing kind of like my top few favorites for 2022 so far, or if it's a little too early for that. But I feel like I've got some products already that are going to end up in my yearly favorites. And I feel like these lipsticks are definitely going to be there. So the cases are gorgeous. The performance is great. The fragrances I really like as well. I'm just really ecstatic about this whole line. I can't wait to see what else they come up with. And then I'm really happy with the Pat McGrath eyeshadow. You know, the other items in the set, they're nice. They're not necessary for me. It was really all about the shadow. I would love her to make a mothership based off of these colors with the greens and the blues and the purples. But, you know, so far she hasn't. So I'll take what I can get. I love this shade. And, you know, performance is top notch, of course. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you very soon. So have a great day and stay safe and healthy.